Welcome to the first of our best bets video for the York Ebor Festival. I'm going to be starting with day one. I'm joined by one of our resident tipsters, Mike White, and first of all we're going to be looking at the feature race of the day, the Juddmonte, and then we will be giving you our best bets on the card. So Mike, it's an open race, question marks over quite a few of these, including the favourite Postponed with the stable form and obviously the trip. What's your opinion?
You'd say it was an open race, but if Postponed turns up in his best form, I think he'll run away with it. I don't see the problem with the trip. The stable team seem pretty confident. He travels really well. He's got a good turn of foot. He loves this quicker ground, and the pacemaker will be in there to make a good pace for him. So I can't see any problems with Postponed. However, the virus in the stable is a big worry, and you just don't know how well he's recovered from it until they come out on the track. So there are a few other kind of more unexposed contenders in there maybe that you'd look at, but I think Postponed is definitely the one to beat.
I suppose you've got to take on trust that Roger Varian wouldn't be sending him to the racecourse if he didn't think he was right. I mean, he was scintillating in the voltage of last year, so he clearly acts on the track. I'm similar to you. I've always been a big fan of Postponed. I think he probably is the best mile and a half older horse, and good horses can cope with different trips.
Yeah.
Highland Real, obviously, he's solid. He's fast ground horse again,
Yeah.
but is he better over a mile and a half?
I think he is better over a mile and a half. I'm not sure this trip plays to his strengths because he seems to drag them out early, start bringing them back in again, and then push on again with a few furlongs to go, and he won't really be able to do that over 10, especially with the pacemaker in the field that could harry him up front and hassle him and could really put him off his stride. Even if he does go off in front, I think that'll play into Postpone's hands, so I can't see Highland Real beating Postponed. I mean, there's a couple of bits of form, especially in Dubai, I think, where Postpone's already beaten Highland Real quite comfortably, and I think it'd take a massive performance or something wrong with Postponed for Highland Real to reverse the form.
And then we've got Hawkbill for Godolphin. He's been an absolute revelation this year. But the ground, I mean, both of his last two wins have been with plenty of give in the ground, and that's certainly not going to be the case at York this week.
Yeah, he does seem better with a bit of cut in the ground. Connections seem to be adamant that he'll stay a mile and a half. So this could be a bit sharp on quicker ground. There is another 3-year-old in the field, though, that I quite like.
Wings of Desire?
And that's Wings of Desire. I think he's probably better over this trip at the moment than he is over a mile and a half. He'll probably be very good over a mile and a half in time.
Well, he won the Dante over a mile too earlier in the season.
Exactly, and he's got track form on quick ground. I think he might get a little bit outpaced to start with when they start going for home, but he'll be coming home very strongly. And if Frankie can sit on the back of Postponed and pick up the pieces, he could be right there at the end.
And we all know what the 3-year-olds have been doing in these races, open to all the ages here. They've been cleaning up, haven't they?
Yeah, they've been doing really
Again,
well.
Ribchester went and won in France.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Grey Gatsby. I mean, Jamie Spencer's been jocked off this time, giving Danny Tudhope a go.
I'm not 100% sure it's a jocking off as such. I think Jamie Spencer's looked at it and he's gone, his best days are probably behind him now.
Yeah.
It could be a masterstroke, who knows? But I just don't think the Grey Gatsby's quite as good as he used to be.
And on Jamie Spencer, I mean, he rides Arab Spring, which I've been a big fan of previously before he made his reappearance. But 11 days after such a long layoff, and again, a mile and a quarter, is that going to be a bit sharp?
Yeah, it probably will be a bit sharp. I'm not sure he's good enough, to be honest with you, at the moment. He'll have to improve plenty for that first run, which he could do, but then equally he could bounce as well. Yeah. So he's a very risky one.
So I think we're both of the opinion that Postponed, if everything's well with his health, then he's going to take a lot of beating, isn't he?
Yeah, if falls well and he's 100%, it'll be very hard to beat.
And I think you're probably going to get a decent price in the end. I think there's a lot of people wanting to get this horse beat purely on the fact that he's never won over a mile and a quarter, but he's a standout horse on form, isn't he? So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're
going to go with Postponed. And moving on to our best bets, you've got one in the Acomb?
I have, yeah, and that's Mark Johnston's Bear Valley. He was hugely impressive at Goodwood, absolutely bolting up by 4 lengths over Monteterre, who's very useful himself. And his entries in the Royal Lodge and the Dewhurst show how highly rated he is. I think this horse has got plenty more to come because he's been very coltish in his career so far. And I think, given the inexperience of some of the other contenders, he could go really well here at a generous price of 11-2.
Yeah, he takes on the latest Godolphin acquisition from the Hugo Palmer yard, Best of Days. But we've been here before, a wide margin maiden winner, getting pitched into group company. They don't always follow it up, do they?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yes, he did look very, very good on debut, but this is a big step up and it's a completely different race. And everything in behind really on that day didn't really do anything after or hasn't looked great.
And you're currently looking at a price of around 11-8, which for a horse that only had one run, he would have to be top draw.
It's a leap of faith, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
But Hugo Palmer's 2-year-olds have been going really well this season. He's had a couple more winners in the last few days, so...
They have, but for Mike, it's Bear Valley at around 11-2. And for me, I'm going for in the 420, the 2 mile handicap. And it's a horse trained by Alan King. It's Ocean. He ran at Goodwood over the extended 2.5-2.6 trip, which is a complete marathon. And he was a little bit unlucky. He didn't get the best of runs, maybe due to his bit of tactical speed, but he ended up coming very wide. And if you watch that race, he was absolutely flying at the finish. I mean, there was no horse going as quick as he was. He was eating up the ground, and even 50 yards further, he probably would have won. He's only been raised £1 for that. The start before, he went over 1 mile and 6 at Ascot, just getting up at the end. So the 2 mile trip, I think, should be ideal. He's off a mark of 87. Alan King is very good at these kind of races with his hurdlers who go on mixed codes. And I think at 9-1, I think it's a smashing each way bet.